Hey, I'm Ken Ellison from Ellison Machine Shop. You all know me. I'm your engine guy. And today is April 1st, 2023. Happy April Fool's Day. I love April Fool's Day because if you've been following my work, you know April 1st is the day the machine shop strikes back. I've spent the last 364 days of the last year answering all your questions, listening to all your stories, looking at all your parts, holding up your head gaskets, checking them all out, and letting you drag me through anything you want to drag me through, pretty much. But today's the day where I get to tell you what I think. You know, if you've been following my work, you know I'm a pretty polite guy, and if ever got to know me, you know I tell people when you ask me questions, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Guys come in all the time and say, "Hey, let me ask you a dumb question." I say, "Man, there's no dumb question. If you don't get it, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help." Well, that's true. It absolutely is. I'm here to help. Your engine builders are there to help, but they're also there to make a living, and so am I. And a whole bunch of you say and do a lot of really ridiculous stuff, and you drag us right along with you. Today's my day that I get a little bit off my chest. So hang on here. I hope you hang in here with me because we got a little bit of a ride to go on here. And I don't even know where all this is heading. To be perfectly honest, a lot of this is just coming from the heart, and I'm just getting off my chest some of the things that bubble over the course of the year. Because there's days that I build up and I build up and I build up, and it's just like, ugh. But I maintain a professional level. But you know what? Not all machinists do. And if you and in most shops you go into, the majority of the most machinists that I know, they're really good engine builders, but a lot of them are just a bunch of old curmudgeons. They're just cranky, irritated people because they put partially because they put up with a lot of stuff all year long. And the smaller the shop, the less free advice a shop can afford to give you. So anyhow, first of all, I've recently posted a funny funny little post. I seen it on another guy's page, and I shared it. It was just a post that I put on Facebook that it said something to the effect that to kind of to help the environment. I just seen six electric cars in a row, and they were all plugged in, and there wasn't nobody using them, so I unplugged them. To save electricity. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Not for all you though. Immediately, the panties are all balled up in a wad, and you guys are just out of your mind. It's a joke, fellas. Learn to take a joke. And you know what? If you've been following my work, you also know that I don't get into this is a car guy, car girl too. We got a lot of really cool ladies that follow our page who loves all things mechanical. That's what my page is all about. That's my YouTube channel, my Facebook page. It's all about stuff that interests guys who got a mechanical spirit. Us people who, we get off of work, you can go to a political page and you can read all about the politics. You can go to a religious page, you can read all about anything that you want to when it comes to faith. We don't talk sports here. Every once in a while I might use a sports metaphor, but we really don't talk sports here. Biggest thing that's happened to sports to ruin them is they've made it political. Yeah, I don't want to get into all that. Keep that crap to yourself. This is a page that we talk about engines. We talk about motorcycles once in a while. Not that I'm a bike mechanic, but once in a while there's something cool. Big trucks, boats, things mechanical that I think you guys that are interested in. When you come to this page, that's all we want to talk about. Now, of course, the EV stuff is very real, and it's becoming a part of my business. Not really a part of my business as far as it's not like we're making money on it or doing anything in that area, but it is attacking the mindset of people who build engines. It's attacking the direction that the country's going to go. And that's all a good thing. And we're all going to talk about that. But I have stayed out of these conversations since the first day that I ever got on my very first YouTube post that I did, or my first Facebook post. I have never got into anything other than my business: cars, race cars, muscle cars, how to redo a cylinder head, how to pressure test. Okay, you guys are dragging me into this, and All you Eevee guys, hang on. I got a video coming. It's going to be just for y'all. And I'm going to do it from a standpoint of, we all share a world, just not you. We all don't have to do things according to your opinions. But we're going to be doing an EV page here, and I apologize, not EV page, but EV post, a video, and I apologize to all of you guys that come here that don't want to hear about politics and environment and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of things that have to be said. It really is. And I'm really, really sick and tired of listening to all the people who have only one opinion, as if your opinion is supposed to dictate everything else that the rest of us does. Just like my opinion shouldn't dictate everything else that the rest of you do. But we're gonna be talking about that. So hang tight. That's gonna be fun. And for you guys that don't want me to deviate from what I already do, I apologize, but I find it necessary. We're going to. I'm probably going to be a little more vocal. But anyhow, first of all, when it comes to customers, a shop like myself is extremely busy. And first of all, I've been in business. I've been building engines now for 42 years. I've been self-employed since I was 17 years old. Guess what? I don't need no more work. And I don't say that to be full of myself. I've got more work and I know what to do with. I turn work away all the time. I really do. And I send a bunch of my business jobs that I can't handle to my friends at JB's Auto Machine. They're good people. I love their whole family, man. I ever think about them. I went to school with Jerry Bunty. So, I mean, we go back a long way. They're nice people. I hand off work all the time. I never felt that this business that I'm in competition with anybody. That's why I give away all my tips, tricks, and techniques so that you can learn to build engines and you can keep these muscle cars that I love alive. I have other shops that have chewed on me and said, stuff about why do you tell people these things? Because I guess I don't know. I guess they feel threatened that someone else could open up a shop in their area. You open up a shop right next door to me, I swear I'll send you enough business. If you do good work, I'll send you enough business. You'll pay your rent, gas, and electric, and your basic overhead every month. Guarantee you. But it's very difficult to make a living when you have people who nonstop call you up and ask you things that are distracting you from your job. There's not a single one of these out there that your boss wants you taking phone calls from someone that lives on the other side of the world that will never spend a dime with you. And I do, and I don't mind. I have a person I've talked to over and over from a guy from Hungary. I believe that's where it was. I might be wrong in that, but far. Got to get a lot of people from Australia. I'm in Maryland. Maryland in the United States. I'm in Maryland. That's a long way away. I still talk to these people, but most people are very respectful of my time, and they ask permission to talk to me. Ask me if I have a moment. Most guys will usually come right out and say, I hate to bother you. No, you don't. You wouldn't be calling me if you did. But that's okay. I'm a pretty reachable person, as I said. But guys, you got to learn boundaries. You all have to learn some type of boundaries. And more importantly, if you're calling me up and you're asking me questions and I tell you what you need to go and do to your engine, do not call me back if you haven't done what I told you. That's not unreasonable. If you're not going to listen to what I say, then go somewhere else. Just leave me alone. And that may sound harsh, but it ain't. It's not. What's the point? What's the point of hiring or talking to a professional if you're just going to get on YouTube and look at some silly video from someone who barely has a mustache because he's 18 years old? And by the way, I was in business at 17 years old. I was pretty good at what I do. I had no right to be telling everybody else though, because now I'm light years ahead of where I was. We have guys that do this to us all the time. You can't do it to your local machine shop either, especially if it's a 1 or 2 man shop. Be respectful of a guy's time. I want you to know that in my area, within driving distance of my shop, 13 machine shops that I know of is either no longer building engines, has moved out of town, retired, or went out of business. Guys, that's sad. That's just sad. I don't want to see that. I'm not glad that them people went out of business. I'm not glad that I got more work and I know what to do with. On assembled engines, I got a year's waiting list. I got a year, if I'm lucky. And on top of that, I probably own about 15 different engines of my own I want to build. Stuff that I'm going to keep, some stuff I'm going to sell, but stuff I want to do. It's just stuff I love doing this. This past week, I kid you not, I am just a complete and utter shop rat. That's who I am. That's my personality. This past week, I can't remember, it was Monday or Tuesday. I had one of the best days of my life. I love this place. Right over here is my counter. People walk. There's my door. People walk right through the door over here, and they come to the counter. And I either stop when sometimes I'm here, sometimes I stop what I'm doing. I come in and I wait on them. Every person was a pleasure. I had people throwing money at me. I had a good. It was a good sales day. Every person I talked to, it was just a freaking enjoyable day. I had really good conversations. I could go on and on about that. I won't. Uh, I even had a guy that it's not uncommon for people sometimes to stick you with jobs or leave them there for a while. Um, I had somebody I actually had to threaten. I told him, if he, I'm not calling you back again. This job is now mine. I'm selling it. Well, he came in and picked it up. Woohoo! I love that. I don't want to sell nobody's engine. I don't want to be hard on nobody. I'd never want to charge you storage. Never ever. But I will, because you guys aren't respectful of us. You know, as an engine builder, I realize that you guys, most of what I do for you, you guys are building toys. It's not everything isn't your everyday car. And I know that when your bills get jammed up, the toys get kicked to the curb. But sorry, that's how I feed my family. Um, you have to be respectful of me. You have to be respectful of your machine shop. There's a lot of small shops that can't handle to work on your project for a week or two and have you not come get it. Now, I'm in a little bit different scenario here that I won't drag you through, but but a lot of shops, they depend on you being punctual. We don't want our machine shops going out of business. You know, if you don't respect the people you're doing business with, they're going to close up. And the really, really good guys are older than me. Um, Mr. Bill Coleman is an icon in this area. He retired, I don't know, 20 plus years ago, maybe, or at least 20, right about. No, it was pre 2006. I know that because he retired when I had another guy here that left here in 2006. So he retired, went back in business, been working the whole time, and just retired again. And I'm sure, not to mention he's getting up in age and he's been doing it forever. But there's a lot of the older guys that their heads are so full of knowledge that when they talk, I listen. Jim Bunty is one of my favorite people in the world to speak to. And you've heard me mention before Brad and Bob Walsh, God rest their souls, they're both gone. When I was around them guys, I conducted myself like it was a game of Jeopardy. Everything I said to them was in the form of a question. And then I shut up. I open up the ears. I get the hair off my ears. I listen. I listen intently. Guys got knowledge that I'll never have. And they're not, those guys ain't going to be around forever. And a whole bunch of them are just going to disappear. You guys got to quit driving them out of business. You got to quit making life harder on them than it has to be. Um, you know, when you go into a restaurant, you know not to pee off your waitress because you're allowed to wind up with a Luger in your food, right? That's an old going joke. We all know that. Don't make your machinist upset. We need these guys around. We really do. And if you don't, everybody's going to wind up with a crate engine in their muscle car. And then instead of having all these cars with all these cool different engines, everything's going to be an LS, a Coyote, or a late model Hemi, and that's going to cover the majority of the car shows. I don't want to see them in cars that are 1960s, personally. Sometimes, yeah, sure. I don't want to see them all like that. That's why I love this business. That's why I try to teach you guys as much as I do. That's why I answer questions. That's why I try to encourage you. But you guys have got to be more respectful of people's time. You really do. And you know what? You guys who uh, want to come into a shop and say, I'll pay you for your time. And then you turn around and say, hey, what do I owe you? Quit asking. Pull the money out of your wallet. Whatever you think it was worth, just pull it up and throw it on a counter. And instead of saying, hey, uh, how much do I owe you? Throw that up on a counter and say, sir, is that enough? That's how you ought to handle it. Or say, hey, that's all I got, but thank you. That goes a long way, fellas. You know, I have waitresses that when me and my wife go out to eat that can't wait to serve us because I'm a generous tipper. I always have been, and I don't say that bragging. I just know that for an extra couple of dollars, that person works really hard for me, and it's important for my wife to have. It's important for me for my wife to have a good time when we're out. So I'm just talking about a little professional courtesy, and you guys know that you couldn't possibly take the phone calls at your work like you do to some of us. Now, that's not me. That's not me telling you to go away. I'm just trying to get you to have a little better perspective on the way you present yourself. I am so tired of having people ask me questions that no one could possibly answer. You know, you literally come in and will ask a question that is so open ended that it could go 10,000 different ways, and there's no way I could actually answer it for you. So instead of me sitting here saying, hey, that's a dumb question, I sit back and strategically have to drag the information out of you. So I try not to insult people, as I said. Not because I worried about your feelings, but because that's my character. I like to, I present myself the way I want to be perceived. That's just who I am. I don't like to belittle no one. I'm pretty good at it though. I really am. I'm a pretty witty guy. I'm pretty funny when it comes to insults and that kind. But I don't do it to no one. But I do ask people to be respectful. You do realize that Google answers questions, and believe me, I hate Google in a lot of areas. It's the internet is no longer the information highway. It is now the advertising highway, and it wears me out. Um, no matter what I put into the computer, something stupid pops up. I literally one time Googled, if you're an old Steve Martin fan, I Googled um, Mambo dog face down to the banana patch. And I know that Mambo dog face down to the banana patch. That's a line from a comedian, Steve Martin, from his one of his sketches. And and of course it pops up and it says more uh, more links to Mambo dog face down to banana patch. It popped up all these different things that I could buy that's related to it. Better searches for. I know Google's hard to deal with. I really do know that. I know that there's a lot of times that you say, you know what, I could find this online, but I'll just call Ken. Ken's working. Ken is working. If it ain't worth your time to look it up, how come it's worth my time to stop what I'm doing and answer questions that you can answer without me? Now, I am perfectly happy to answer questions for you. But can you please put a little effort into taking care of your own business and answering some of your stuff before you come to me? I can't be the first line. I should be the guy that you call and say, hey man, I need some help. I tried. I want your help. I'm good with that. And your machinist probably will be too, especially if you take care of him once in a while. And I'm not telling you have to do that, but it's not a bad idea. And I'll help you whether you do or not. But I'm telling you, your other machinist, he might not. A couple dollars on it. I've had customers already walk in the door here and give me money. I had a guy, I had George Roberts, good guy, really nice guy. He knows I'm busy and I don't have time to get his engine in. He come in here the other day, threw some money on the counter, said, here, go buy all your guys lunch. And we did. Papa John's pizza. Only because there's not a Marco's in my area. Papa John's is my next favorite. Marco's is my absolute favorite pizza ever. Um, but just have to be a little more respectful. I had a guy come in here the other day, and I kind of jumped on him a little bit. He was actually talking to one of my guys, well, actually one of my sons, who's 30 years old, and my son was trying to give him some advice, and he wasn't listening real well. And I jumped in. I said, How many engines have you built? He said, oh, he made the comment, but I do these all the time. I said, how many of them have you built? That's when I jumped in. He said, I built 6. I laughed. I laughed. I've done more than 6 before I was 18 years old. I don't know how many. I could not put a number on the thousands and thousands of engine jobs that not necessarily that I built, but I've been involved in. I led. I figured out all the parts, the components. I solved the problems. I predicted which direction to take the project in so we could get the results that we wanted. Thousands, thousands, and thousands. If you're going to come into my shop or come into my guys, when we talk, you listen. Is that unreasonable? Guess what? When I'm talking to my doctor, I tell him my problem, and then I shut up and listen, and I show him the same respect that I would have given to Jim Bunty or Bill Coleman or uh, Bob or Brad Wallace and all of them guys. And believe it or not, when I'm sitting here telling you that, I get goosebumps on my arms. I had the opportunity to talk to Rick Maskin, the owner. God rest his soul too. He passed away recently, just a while back. The owner of Dart Industry. I talked to him for probably 40 minutes. It was a great conversation, and even at one point, he was poking me on my chest and telling me something. And I was so excited to be around somebody who knows so much more than I do. I was like, Rick Maskin is poking me in the chest. I was like, it was so exciting. I mean, if you're a computer geek, I would be like Bill Gates telling you all you need to know. Bam, 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 bam. I'd love to tell you what he said, but I can't. But anyway, respect. So it's all about. Man achieved things he achieved things I'll never reach. Don't have an interest to, but I'll never reach that. But you have to understand a man's time is valuable. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. And not understanding people's time is valuable is why we're losing a lot of our machine shops. And especially our older people they just don't feel like dealing with the headaches no more. And of course, technology is getting harder. And now you know what we have to deal with? Got to deal with, especially you LS guys with all the LS engines. Hey, I'm not against LS engines at all. But, it used to be that a guy would come in the door and said, hey, I got a pair of heads off a 318 Chrysler or a nailhead Buick or this or that. And they asking prices. Now he's walking in the door and says, yeah, I got a pair of 243 heads. I'm like, huh? Oh, no, you give me the casting number. Last 3 digits off the casting number. Dude, knock it off. You're a pain in the rear end. You are a pain. I shouldn't have to sit here and extract information off of you. How hard it is to say, hey, I got a 5.7 or a 6.0 and I'm using such and such a cylinder head. It shouldn't be that hard to get your information. Okay, here's the next one. Guy comes in the door. So, okay, dropping off an engine. I'm asking him about, okay, so what's this out of? So he starts telling me all about his project. Well, after I got a dozen other things done, they turn around and come to find out that, oh, no, I got the engine out of something that's 10 years different. And it's going into a different. Don't tell me about the stupid chassis. Tell me about the engine. How am I supposed to look up parts if you're taking an engine out of one vehicle and putting in another, and you give me all the information off the vehicle? It's got nothing to do with the engine. And if you don't know that, sell your tools. Is that unreasonable? No, it's not. And I'm talking to you. Whew. This is fun. And you know what? This is going to help me get through for another year. Some people drink. Some people cuss, scream. Some people cry, have fits. Some people have anxiety attacks and they take medication. Some people just go home and kick the cat, take it out on their wife. I vent once in a year. Thank you for listening to all this. This is helping me. If it ain't helping you, it's helping me. Want to hear another good one? When you come into a shop and you tell a guy, hey, I'd like to buy parts, blah, 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 blah. And then I sit down and I write it all out and I go through. It takes a lot of work to sit down and look up every single thing an engine needs. And especially if I go through and it's not just like a stock engine. It should go through. And when you go through and you're customizing an engine, you got to have, all the components got to work one to another. It's all got to work together. So I'll look up all the parts and a customer, which I don't get burned by this too much anymore. I used to get it a lot, but I've gotten better at reading people. So then you get done and you give them a list of all the parts that you're going to get for them, and they go through and they look at 75 different things and they say, "Oh, here, I'll take these three." What do you mean you'll take those three? Well, these are a really good price. If you were going to shop the whole planet, and that's what I mean when you get online, you literally can buy from any place in the world. If you're going to get online and you're going to scour the whole planet looking for every single thing you can find, the best deal wise, don't ask me to look up parts for you because I'm a small company. I'm sure majority of the time, the machine shops you're dealing with are small companies, and none of us are the cheapest in everything. You go to Home Depot, you go to Lowe's, you go to Walmart. Nobody's the cheapest on everything all the time. And if you are only going to buy the things that I can get cheaper than everybody else in the world, that's just ignorant. Tell me that up front. Don't waste my time. I bet you Jed Coughlin, that owns, Jegs, the big mail order place. I bet he's probably got a barbecue grill sitting next to his pool, and the grill's probably worth more than me and my whole business. I'm not the cheapest in town. I can't be. Your guy's not either. Either let us. Either. I mean, it's different if the prices are like way out there and we're just completely off base. But guys, if you don't pay for a man's time, he's going to go out of business. You can't pay your bills if you go into work and your boss doesn't cover your check and pay you for the hours you put in. It really is just that simple. And I can honestly say that I could keep going on and on and on. And I'm going to bring one up here that I've told you all before. When it comes to dumb questions and dumb statements and all that kind of stuff, I told you this before. A long time ago, I had a customer, and to this day, I'll probably talk about this every year for the rest of my life on April 1st. I wouldn't be surprised anyway. I had a customer that I'm showing respect to, and I'm trying to get his opinion on all the stuff that needs to go into the engine. And I was talking to him about whether or not we were going to go with chrome rings, which were back then was a lot more popular than it is today. And he said no. He says, ain't anybody going to see them anyway. And if that doesn't make you laugh, you don't know anything about engines. That is hysterical. And that person needs to understand that they need to come in and ask, listen, and then make decisions. You are a general contractor of the engine job, so to speak. You decide on your car project, if you're not doing much yourself, you're going to decide who does the body work, who does the upholstery, who does the paint, who does the engine, who does the transmission, all that kind of stuff. That's all part of the fun. That's why I answer so many questions for people. The reason I answer so many questions is because, just like I told you, the other day I had one of the best days at work, best days of my life, and it was at work. I love what I do. I had a great time here. And when guys come in and they're building something really cool and they invite me into the middle of it, I have a blast with this kind of stuff. There's cars all over the place that's got my name on them. That makes me feel good. It really does. That's what I feel like when I see that. But you have to know. You have to know that when you are trying to decide what to do, that like I said, you're the general contractor. It's up to you to figure all those things out. I like to help you figure those things out. But when you're dealing with a professional, you should treat them like a professional. You can't sit here. I know I'm rambling and this is going too long. I recently I did have a customer who come in that I had a very long mechanical discussion about what we had to do inside his cylinder head and what he needed to do on the car to make sure his project went back together right. So after I get done talking to him, and I know he didn't understand most of what I said, and we're not talking about the money aspect, we're just talking about what to do. He tells me, all right, well, I'm going to go home and talk to my wife. And I lost that one a little bit, not much, but I came out of my character. I said, and what does she know about it? How is your wife going to help you decide what I just told you? I said, I bet you can't even say back to me what I told you. I said, what, okay, now I'm losing it. So I'm going to end things here. I think you guys get my point. I think you get my point. And it's here is really the last thing I'm going to tell you. I haven't done a video in months. I posted the first thing I posted the other day in a very long time. I don't think I even shared that one post I think the first one I shared in about 3 months. I've even got Facebook sending me messages saying, hey, your viewers are losing track of you. Yeah, I know. I've lost a couple thousand followers. You know why? Can only take so much, guys. Really can. So I had to take a break. Well, we're getting ready to get started here again. I got some really cool stuff coming up for you. I hope you follow. I'm sorry this went so long. Um, if I stepped on any of your toes, good. I'm talking to you. Get your panties all balled up in a wad. We got some more stuff coming. We're gonna move forward. It's really time to ramp up the information. A lot of you guys are very talented, and you're letting your skills go by the wayside. Engines are at a shortage right now, thanks to our wonderful supply chain. But engines are at a shortage. There's a lot of things on national back order. There's a lot of you guys who got time on your hands who can make a lot of money, and I'm here to help. I really am. So anyhow, guys, it's always a blast talking to you. Thank you for letting me vent. Shares and likes are always the way that when you see somebody that's online that's done something and is taking their time to help you, if it's something you appreciate, share it, click it. It means a lot to them. It does to me. I never take you guys for granted. And as of 12 o'clock tonight, I'll be nice and respectful from here on out. Take care.